Welcome back, YouTube. I apologise for the slightly prolonged hiatus, but we're back and I'm going to make a pledge that these are going to be a lot more frequent. And I'm sure not many of you have missed this, but it's just an accountability from my side kind of thing that I want to kind of release more long form videos to kind of get my point across, to educate a bit further. I feel like with Instagram and Reels, because you are kind of timed on it and you can only get so much in like 30 seconds before people's attentions are just gone. So yeah, long form slightly better for me. I do enjoy it a lot more as well. So because you can kind of speak a little bit more raw. So we're back, and today's video is going to be a bit of a summary and a bit of a vision, and of course I have a new coach and kind of a new goal at mind as well. So if you've been following me on Instagram for a while, you'll probably know what the goal is. So Men's Physique 2025 is the new goal. So obviously over the past few years I've done numerous photo shoots, and I feel like photo shoots are just the kind of prerequisite before you go on to kind of show territory. And I think for me, I just need a slightly new challenge. Like I kind of saw what I was capable of last year for the photo shoot, and I think I just want to kind of take it up a notch and have a new challenge for myself, because only recently have I realised that although coaching myself is fine, you know, I do it with multiple clients, you still just have that slightly biased approach in regards to how strict you are with yourself. I think it's very easy to kind of fall off track. I say fall off track very loosely because it's not a case of, right, I've just not followed my foods for weeks or anything like that, or I've not done my steps or cardio, but I will give myself, you know, the odd meal out or the weekend out drinking, things like this. So since signing up with a new coach, it just gives me that clearer vision, and having a goal at mind as well. It means that I'm kind of locked in to, you know, accomplish day-to-day tasks, which obviously will build up until show day. So goal wise is Men's Physique, which will be in May/June 2025. So officially kind of 44 weeks out to this point, to this day. So looking at kind of competing around May, June time next year, and hopefully looking at kind of UK DFBA, which is obviously the drug-free federation, and signed up with the new coach, AJ Morris. If some of you follow the fitness industry, you'll probably know him. He, in my opinion, is probably one of the best and most reputable natural bodybuilding coaches there is. So I feel like, you know, having watched him on Instagram for years, I like him as a person, and it was very similar to my coach last year, JJ. You know, I like them as a person. I think that's the number one thing that you always need to consider when you are looking at going with a coach is, do you like them? You know, there's no point signing up with a coach because he looks incredible and he's got fantastic results. That's all great, but if they're a bit of a prick or you don't really see yourself gelling with them, they're probably not the coach for you. So with AJ, you know, he is, you know, his business and his results and his kind of status within the fitness industry kind of speaks for itself, but for me, he resonated with me quite a lot. He's just a very nice, down-to-earth guy, very approachable, personable. So yeah, that was my kind of deciding factor. Obviously, he's got many accolades as well to his name, his own kind of bodybuilding career, and obviously a lot of kind of client wins as well over the years that he's been doing it. So yeah, AJ Morris is the coach. Made by Morris, apologies, is his kind of coaching brand. If you don't know him, look him up. Very good guy. So with the new coach, obviously comes kind of new routine, and obviously now it's a bit more kind of bodybuilder focused. It is very much a bodybuilding lifestyle that I am following, but I think I am very much suited to this lifestyle. Like having the same meals 2-3 times a day really isn't an issue for me. And I know for a lot of people, to make it sustainable for them and maybe more kind of lifestyle clients, you know, having various different foods across the months, the weeks, and having a bit more variety with your foods from day to day is important. But for myself, you know, I don't mind having the same foods every day, and it is very stereotypical. Chicken and rice 2 or 3 times a day, salmon, potatoes, phage, yogurt, protein. Still got cereal, Rice Krispies are in, but it's very much rinse and repeat, rest day and training day, which again for me isn't an issue whatsoever. And I think if you are creative with your foods and obviously use things like spices and herbs, you can make it taste pretty nice, and I've literally not been bored of it yet. I think the only change that I'm starting to feel more so is the training. I've been very consistent with my training, of course, for years, but I've pretty much followed the same split for about 2.5-3 years, which was push, pull, legs, upper, and then the occasional arms and delts session on the weekend if I felt like it. So with this new split, it is push and arms 1, back and hamstrings, rest, push and arms 2, and then legs, and then repeat essentially. So I am training 5 days per week. It is a 5-day split. So we'll talk about that in a bit more in a second, but obviously the main focus this year, with it being men's physique, is very much obviously top half, that top line that we're trying to kind of fill out a little bit more and work on my kind of weaknesses, so to speak. So kind of my areas that we're focusing on are more kind of delts and arms. I know, how rude. I thought I had pretty good arms, but clearly not. But again, men's physique is very much that kind of wide shoulder frame, small waist. So, I can see the reason behind it. So delts and arms being the main priority, chest being the third, and then back being the fourth, as it is one of my stronger points, which again, having a coach, I didn't actually realise that until someone else points it out. So this is the importance of having a coach. They can kind of see your weaknesses, see your strengths, and obviously with my back being a slightly stronger part, the volume across the space of the week has come down with only having one back session. So that's why there's 2 push days. So shoulder focus, arms focus, chest focus, arms focus. So really kind of trying to bring out this kind of top area, which is fine for me. I'm enjoying the split. The only thing that I found within the first week is the volume. So obviously I'm very much top set, back offset kind of guy, have been for years, but the new kind of training split, it is still pretty much top set, back offset, but there's a lot more sets where there are 3 within the exercise. So top set and then 2 back offsets, or 3 kind of straight sets essentially. So that's the only change, and I think the volume has definitely hit me hard within the first week. I'm into the second week now, but it is a lot more bearable this week. I think it was a bit of a shock, and to the system more so than anything. It's fine. Some of the sessions do last 2 hours, which is pretty crazy. And obviously, if you are, on a tight kind of time schedule, maybe that's not going to be optimal for you. And this is why it's so important to follow a split that suits you. But I do have that kind of time, midday, because I can obviously work both sides of that session to kind of get that done. And again, I'm going to do absolutely anything that he says during this prep, because I want to give it absolutely 100%. There's not going to be any kind of off-plan meals unnecessarily. There's not going to be any kind of drinking every weekend, which I was doing. I'm not going to shy away from that. I was probably drinking, once a week, once every 2 weeks, all this year leading up to summer. But now it is kind of time to focus my priorities elsewhere, and I want to actually see what I am capable of, naturally with, reducing alcohol consumption, having, completely whole foods as opposed to maybe having, foods that are slightly more high in sodium and a bit more kind of artificial, so to speak. So I'm really excited, and I'm already feeling a lot better. And it just goes to show that, your food that you ingest does essentially become a byproduct of how you feel and how your skin looks and how you are from a body composition perspective as well. So I am already a week in, feeling actually a lot leaner already, just by kind of doing something that's a bit more kind of consistent day to day in regards to the foods. And again, it's not for everyone, chicken and rice, eggs, typical bodybuilder foods, but it's fine with me. And, it's something that I am putting all my focus into for the next kind of 45 weeks that will be alongside business as well at the same time. So in a nutshell, that's a training split. And again, it's obviously repeat. So the only thing that I had an issue with the first week was I really like my routine, as you may know if you've watched this before. And for me to kind of have a different training day and rest day every single week, because it is repeat. So obviously when you get to the 4th session, you just repeat again after the rest day. So it means my training days and rest days are always swapping around from week to week. But I've recently been reading The Gap and the Gain, which I'll put up on the screen here, which is a very good book in regards to mindset and how you kind of view things. And at the start, I was like, oh my God, this is going to completely throw my routine. But now I've kind of looked at it and kind of measured the gain as opposed to the gap and what it would kind of take away from me. Like now it's a Tuesday. Tuesday would never be a rest day for me before, but now it's a Tuesday, it's a rest day. I can get so much more done. So I think it's always about perspective and how you can view it as a positive, which I know seems a little bit wishy-washy, but I've got a hell of a lot done today from a work load perspective, which I wouldn't normally do on a Tuesday. So I think if you can view things in a different mindset, it is always beneficial to you. But yeah, training wise, a lot of kind of 3 sets, a few new exercises that I've not done for years or done at all for that matter. Not properly anyway, I've not run them for a while. So things like kind of stiff leg deadlifts, not done them for years, they're back in the mix. Things like, cable flies / press, things that I've not done. Again, but always focusing on the kind of weaker areas which I'm looking to bring out. So there's obviously purpose behind it, and I'm following it, down to the T, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a fresh kind of journey for me. It's a fresh outlook on everything, really, and I think you need that sometimes when you do have a goal. And like I say, before signing up with AJ, I was very much kind of just getting by, going to the gym, still training hard, still showing up every single week. My nutrition was, 95% bang on, and then obviously that 5% on the weekend, it maybe would drop slightly with a couple of off-pan meals, or even in the evening after my kind of evening meal, I might have a bit of chocolate or a few sweets or something. Whereas this time around, it is completely, focused on this and this alone. So I'm excited to see how much progress I can make with having that kind of mindset shift. But yeah, the training's going really well. Foods are all fine. It is very much, batch making as much as I can, 2 or 3 days worth, just to make it slightly more convenient for me as kind of work's getting busier. So yeah, that is the whole split moving forward. So the plan is, timeline wise, and I'll put this on the screen now, is to kind of build up until back end of November. I do have a holiday back end of November as well, so that's going to be a bit of a deload week, kind of 10 days away from normal routine, but still keeping up with some kind of things before we start prep, which will be the week commencing 2nd of December. So a nice diet going into Christmas, which will be fun. But the aim obviously isn't to push, anywhere near what I've pushed in the past. I'm 175 pounds now, and the goal weight to aim for is 185 pounds. So it's a very slow, gradual process. And again, you don't need to be putting on loads of weight to be in a building phase or to be in a bulk. And this is a mistake that I've made before. It's literally going to be a 0.5 increase per week. And there's been no changes with foods just yet, because we have pretty much stayed the same. And I think a lot of people make the mistake is the more weight that you can put on, the more muscle that you're going to build. But that is definitely not the case, as I've learned the hard way. And I think it's just a case of being smart with a building phase. And it gives us 20 weeks building, and then it's going to be a 26-week prep before the shows commence back end of May, which will be exciting. And it is, like I've said on the Instagram the other day, it is slightly scary for me, because I've obviously photo shoots are photo shoots. This is a completely different kettle of fish where, the posing comes into play, and this is, again, a posing coach that I've hired. Posing isn't my forte, believe it or not. I know I can do my photo shoot poses, and that's pretty straightforward. They're ones that you do in the mirror after you've had a bit of a pump, you know what I mean? It's nothing like men's physique poses, where it is actually quite hard. You do have to kind of get yourself into positions, because it is essentially, an art. You are kind of showing off the muscle that you've built. So you have to kind of show it correctly in order to do well as well. It's not just how much muscle you've got or how lean you can get. They do judge you on things like stage presence and your posing in general. So posing's one thing that I really need to focus on and work on quite a lot. I have got a posing coach. His name is Kez. He's based in Bradford. So I did have one lesson the other week. Really, thought, yeah, this won't be too bad. I'm quite good at kind of naturally flowing into getting into certain positions. But it was very challenging, and there is a lot of work to do from a posing standpoint. But I am very glad that I've started now and not started during prep, because although I don't look great at the minute, obviously you see people all over Instagram doing the men's physique poses, you think, Jesus Christ, they look good. So it's quite hard when you are a little bit, I'm not fluffy at the minute, but there's not real definition there. It's quite hard to imagine what you're going to look like on stage, but it's not really about that. It's about kind of getting used to the flow, the movement, and actually hitting the mandatory poses that are required for men's physique. There's literally, I know people always say this all the time, but I genuinely don't have any expectations in regards to going in to win. I just want to do it for myself, to go through that challenge, to go through the experience. So hopefully, later down the line in years to come, I can coach clients to go on stage as well. I think it's important to have them walk the walk, to actually coach clients as well. And obviously I coached Harry last year. We did incredibly well. He came second in his first show and my first show as a coach. And that was, that was kind of what set the tone for me, and what was like, yeah, I need to have a little piece of this. So this is why I'm doing it. The challenge for myself, a new vision to give me more focus, and to have a goal that scares me at the end of the day. And I think if your goal, and this is cliche as well, but if a goal doesn't scare you, it's probably not big enough. And I'm a true believer in that. And this does scare me, to be fair, but I know as I kind of go through the process, as I start to feel a bit more comfortable and start, training and the foods and just the general routine starts to become a bit more normal, I will probably start to get a bit more excited as it comes closer to show day. So yeah, the plan is obviously to do a show. It might be 2 or 3. It depends what AJ suggests. Obviously he is, high up there within the industry, so he's going to know the ins and outs and what's going to work well for me. But again, all my trust is in him, as it should be with any coach. And I think having someone to overlook this, having done it many times, and taking the reins off me to kind of take the pressure off me as well, so I can focus more on just getting the job done, and also focusing on other things such as business and my own clients. It's so important. And this is this goes for everyone. If you are someone who is struggling to see results within the gym, or to see changes within your physique, or just to see progress in general, the best thing you can do is to hire a coach. Like, I'm a coach myself, as I'm sure you know. But good coaches need coaches, okay? Chris Bumstead, Mr. Olympia, 4 or 5 times running. He has a coach. You know, it doesn't mean he doesn't know what he's doing. It's just someone to kind of guide that vision and to take all the pressure and stress off you so you can focus on just getting the job done. And the best thing that I've ever done and the best results that I've ever accomplished have come from having a coach. Okay, so it just gives you that accountability, that structure, and it removes any kind of guesswork. So that is my number one tip or takeaway for you from this video is if you need help, and another good book is Who Not How. Don't keep guessing and don't keep trying and getting upset when you don't get the results that you want. Just hire someone, drop the ego. You know, it doesn't have to be myself, it doesn't have to be, you know, anyone that has to do with fitness. You know, it might be a different goal that you've got, but hire someone who's done it and been there and been through the process many times with other people, and that will get you the best result. You know, if you can get a result within 6 months, which by yourself might take you 6 years, it's a no-brainer in my eyes. So yeah, that is the update. Any questions that you might have, drop me a comment below in the comment section, or if you want to drop me a message on Instagram, please feel free to do so. But this is how it's looking. A few kind of things on the screen here in regards to where my cardio is at, where my current calories and macros are, but that is everything in a nutshell, and I'm looking forward to it. And the YouTubes will be back. I've actually got a list here of what YouTubes are coming next, and it's going to be in order: New Coach and the Bodybuilding Vision, which is this one; Greece; Budapest, a collaboration with an unknown guest as of yet; Kyle's photo shoot, which is going to be set 11th of August; Milan; my new routine, it's like kind of a day in the life one; a training day video, and also Dan's photo shoot, which are 2 shoots in August. So stay tuned for them. And thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and I will promise to keep delivering these videos as frequently as I can, at least one every 2 weeks. Have a fantastic day. See you soon.